Hi, welcome back to another episode of the pod, another episode of Minutes with Mimi, and it is your beautiful host, Mimi, as always. So at this point, I feel like we should just start calling the episodes Podsodes. I don't know why my voice is sounding deeper than usual. Am I a teenage boy going through puberty? What's going on? Anyway, so yeah, I feel like we're just going to start calling them podsodes at this point because it's an episode of a podcast, and what better word to coin out of that besides podsode? So yeah, I'm going to start calling them podsodes, and you have no choice but to join me. Okay, so welcome to another podsode of Minutes with Mimi. Okay, so let's get into our topic for today. Besides, it's raining, so if you hear any pitter patter at the back, not my fault. That is not within my control. Okay, so topic of the day, AI. Yep, AI and new technology. I'm just going to be giving my honest thoughts about AI. So Praise, whom you guys should probably already know by now. I mean, yeah, made a YouTube video where she talked about her thoughts on AI. And I was like, I already thought about doing an episode on it, and I was like, this is motivation enough to do it. So this is me giving her credit for giving me the idea. So yeah, you should check out her YouTube. That's Nimi D, I think. I don't know. It's in the description of the episodes that I did with her. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm just going to be giving my thoughts on AI and like new technology as a whole. So I mean, at this point, we already know that AI is like artificial intelligence. I want to assume that everybody just knows what that is, even if you don't know the depths of it. I mean, we shall know what it is about. Yeah. So I'm just going to give you thoughts on AI and new tech as a whole. My first thought is that I feel like okay. Before we even get to that, so there is now the WhatsApp AI and the Snapchat AI that you can chat with. Let's even leave Chat GPT out of this whole matter because that one is a whole different story on its own. So for this first point now, I'm basing it off of the WhatsApp AI and Snapchat AI because I don't know why in your right senses you want to text a robot, but okay, do you? This is my first thought. It feels like I am giving my information to a corporation or like to just something that does not need to know that much about me. Like it's basically invasion of privacy without you thinking about it. Like okay, so obviously I'm not running from government. It's not like I have one kind of, important information that isn't already on like Google. I mean, Google as an email already has access to half of your lifetime. But that's not the point. My point is people actually take their personal matters, like their personal lives to WhatsApp AI or Snapchat AI and they are texting this thing. And I'm like, I don't know who is sicker, the people that made it or the people that are actually texting these things and like they're having a real like they're not texting it just for the fact that you can't text it just for the fun of it. They're texting it because they feel like they are actually having a real conversation with this thing. That is crazy. So you know how they're like, oh, all your information is um secure. It's I don't know the terms. I'm not a tech person, please. But you get like you have your privacy and blah blah blah. But then now they have created a whole thing that you can literally tell those things like those things that you don't want them to have access to, you can literally tell it to these AI. So don't you think you're just giving them access without realizing that you're actually giving them access? Like, say something was to happen now and you wanted to like sue for invasion of privacy. Technically, you told it to them. So do you really have a basis for that? It's just creepy. That's just what I'm trying to say. It's just creepy that you would actually sit down to have a conversation with a robot and actually expect it to feel like a real conversation. That's creepy, man. It's creepy. My next thought is that it indulges mental disorders because again, it makes no sense to me to sit down and instead of having an actual conversation with a person, you are talking to a robot, you are talking to a programmed thing. It is literally programmed to give you the answers that you want to hear. You get. So it is not going to disagree with you. It is not going to dispute most of the things that you say. It's literally going to give you answers that it knows you want to hear. So imagine somebody that is already depressed. I mean, depression on its own is already an issue that you need to deal with, that you need to like fix or heal from, you get. And then now there's AI indulging it. So instead of actually speaking to, let's say, a therapist or other people that might actually help, you're speaking to AI that is just going to indulge these disorders. It's just going to indulge your fantasy, your fantasies, and just make you feel good at the time. But technically, you haven't had a conversation because there's no back and forth, there's no input, there's just basically nothing. There's no human touch to it. You get. Okay. So my next thought on it is that it takes away the appreciation for human interaction. Like I said, instead of going to have a an actual conversation with a person, whether the person will tell you what you want to hear or not, but at least you can say, okay, I had an actual conversation with this person. Because AI now has the like ability to just tell you whatever you want to hear to make you happy at the moment, I feel like people would be more prone to go and text this thing, which again makes no sense to me. I feel like people would be prone to go and text that because everybody just wants to hear what they want to hear. You don't want to, nobody wants to like talk to people and get replies that they don't want to hear. I'm hoping I'm making sense. So it's just going to replace like human interaction. I mean, technology on its own already does that because somebody like me that has top tier social anxiety, which I am working on by God's grace, we would come out of that. Like, I would prefer to text somebody, or I don't even want to call. I would prefer to text somebody than to have a face to face or like calling conversation with people. So now there's AI. And instead of now even texting people, I'm going to text a robot that is just going to tell me again what I want to hear. There's no appreciation for human interaction. There's no value being added. I'm just being fed what was programmed into this thing. And this thing has been programmed to make its user feel good. That's the point. And you can agree with me that human beings' brains are messed up, very, very messed up. So you can only imagine what they are going to be telling AI. And again, you're putting this information, whether you like it or not, on the internet. You're putting this information in a storage somewhere because you can back up your chats. So this thing is literally stored somewhere in some clouds somewhere. So it is no longer personal to you, as even though you think it is, it's not personal to you. And then my next thought on it is that people forget that it really doesn't have any feelings or rationality behind what it says. Like I said, it's basically programmed. So you're telling let's say you're ranting to it about a problem that you have. It's not going to be able to offer you any rationality or um conscience or feelings or any of that. While it might seem to, which is why it is like artificial intelligence, it is mimicking human intelligence. It's still not it. it It's just not it. Okay, talking on the privacy thing again, I watched a movie yesterday, I think. I don't know, but I shall watch the movie recently. And in the movie, there was a weirdo with his weird fantasies. Let's not even get into that. Do I even call those that a fantasy? I don't know what to call that. I don't know. He was sure a man that enjoyed watching people die. Abi enjoyed killing people. I don't know. But sure, to get these people to do whatever he wants, he would blackmail them. Where is he getting the things he's using to blackmail them? From their devices. They think that these things are personal to them, but one way or the other, it can be hacked, it can be gotten. It and then to me with AI, it just feels like they don't even need to hack it anymore because you're now the one using your hand to provide them with this information. You get. So that's crazy. That's crazy. And in this movie, whether this is realistic or not, I have this theory that like devices can hear us or like capture you without your knowledge, which is creepy to me. But I low key feel like it's true because tell me why, and I hope this isn't only me, Sha, but tell me why when you start talking about something or you start thinking about something and you say it, all of a sudden your entire timeline is flooded with this thing. Like when I was thinking about buying a mic, all of it, mind you, I haven't even browsed it because some people will say, okay, it's because you browsed it and they have access to your browsing history. I hadn't even browsed this thing, and all I was seeing on my timeline on IG was mics, 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 and I was like, what is going on? Or when you like, you just think about something at the top of your head, and once you say it, all of a sudden it's all over your timeline. And you're telling me that these devices cannot hear us? That's my conspiracy theory, Sha. I also feel like they can capture us, like take pictures without us knowing. So you're now using your hand to provide all this information to AI. That's just worsening the situation. But that's just my conspiracy theory, Sha. I have nothing to back this. Like I have no evidence to back that. But yeah, that's just how I feel about like AI. I just feel like it's you using your hand to give this thing information that honestly it doesn't need to know about you. The world doesn't need to know about you. These conversations, you can easily have them with actual human beings. And come to think about it, if you think that you cannot have this conversation with a reasonable human being, that means there's something wrong with that conversation. Yeah. If you can't have the conversation with a reasonable human being, and you cannot even have it with God, then there's something wrong with that conversation and it shouldn't be had in the first place. So no, I have never texted AI and I don't think I would ever because I mean if you are using like chat GTP or BGPT GP whatever, you sure know what I mean. I said it in the beginning. If you're using that or you're using like AI that is for like answering questions or like browsing, which still doesn't make sense to me because you can honestly just browse it. So what's the difference? Like I don't know. I just feel like they try to come up with new things to indulge human beings just to make us excited. And it makes no sense to me. Why ask AI when you can just browse it? What is the difference? I don't see the difference. But like at least if that's what you're using AI for, I could understand. For like education or like to answer questions or like for your regular browsing. I can even understand that, even if it still doesn't make sense because you can just browse it. But yeah, that makes more sense than having a conversation with this thing because you are looking for a reply. That's creepy. That's crazy. That's weird. Shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. And then let's now even come to social media. Let's talk about threads because that is the newest social media app, right? And I don't know. There's just something off about it. And I don't like when people are like, oh, I'm not going to join. It's just this, it's just that. And in the next 2, 3 years tops, everybody's there. Like, just calm down. Don't try to show yourself, okay? My only reason, I don't have anything against the app. My only reason for not joining it is because one, I'm not even a social media person. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on TikTok. What else am I not on? I'm not on Facebook. I'm literally only on Instagram and Snap, if those count, and WhatsApp, if those count as social media. So yeah. But my major reason for not joining threads is that if you want to delete your threads account, you have to delete your Instagram account. And that doesn't go down well with me because like I can just wake up one morning and choose to delete my threads account because I'm weird like that. And like I said, not a very social person. So I don't want to have to delete my Instagram account if I want to delete it. So yeah, that's my only reason for not joining threads. But you see those people that will come out and be like, "Oh, I'm not joining because it's this it's a means for them to make money. It's a means for them to this. It's a means for them to that." But in the next 2 to 3 years, when it becomes the it's app, the way TikTok is now, everybody will be there. Like, please calm down. Me, I'm not a fan of tech or social media as a whole because it just all feels icky to me. If there was a way we could live without it, honestly, I wouldn't mind. But then boredom will kill me. Boredom would honestly kill me. Sometimes I just used to sit down and wonder how people in like the 18th century, 15th century, what were they doing to keep themselves busy? And why is it so impossible for us now to live without without technology? Like without it as entertainment. I mean, we need it for other things, which I would never dispute. But why is it so hard for us to live without it now as entertainment? I don't know. I should do an episode on that, like this or that episode, contrasting people that lived without like phones. Let me just limit it to that, like without access to like internet, or like people that grew up. Let's say, um, should I say millennials or boomers? I'm not sure which ones really grew up without access to the internet or phones like that. Like it's not like they didn't exist, but it wasn't something that was so common. You get, yeah. I would like to do a contrast between that and us that literally grew up in front of screens, and now that's the only form of entertainment that we know. So yeah, that is my take on threads or social media. I don't know. It's just I feel like social media originally started with the aim to like showcase people's lives or something like that. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the or for like easier communication with people. I don't know. But I just know that right now it has turned into a competition because social media even makes us compete with people that don't even know that we exist. Like take for instance now, you want to be an influencer or an upcoming let's say you're an upcoming influencer, and then there are already influencers out there. You find yourself competing with those people because you want to look like them. You want your page to look like their page. You want your content to look like their content because you feel like that's the only way to do the thing. You feel like that's the most marketable way. And then you end up, I'm not saying it isn't, though. I'm not saying you should go and make trashy content and put it out there. I'm not saying you should draw inspiration from their content. What I'm saying is that we now, or the person ends up like being in competition, trying their best to meet up with somebody that doesn't even know that they exist. You get, I just feel like that's what social media has come to now. But it's still entertaining. I mean, for people like me that don't really care, it's still entertaining. I just feel like we shouldn't get so sucked into the whole social media, tech, AI thing. I feel like we should still find ways to live outside of that world. It shouldn't be a world of its own. Take Twitter NG for example. It is literally a world of its own. Like the conversations that happen there would literally never happen in real life. Let's be honest. Because nobody is going to walk up to anybody and actually say the trash that they say there. But because it is social media, it is in quotes safe space. Everybody just spills out nonsense from their keyboards. My point is, in as much as you can be doing that, if that is who you are, I just feel like we should find ways to like live outside of that. That shouldn't be our entire lives. You get, like at this point, social media is just a war, especially Instagram. Let me even just pinpoint it, especially Instagram. It is literally now a war of aesthetics. Whose page looks the best? Whose this looks the best? And I won't even lie, I'm part of them because obviously everybody else is posting reasonable content. I wouldn't want to now be the one that's posting whack content. You get, so everybody is now fighting to meet up with the whole aesthetic thing, with the whole um this is what the audience wants to see type of thing. You get, I don't know, I just feel like there are some battles that cannot be won, and the battle against technology is one that cannot be won because it's just life now. I guess it's just life now. We are low-key dependent on technology, and there are some people that are totally dependent on technology, but let's not even talk about those ones. But everybody in some way or the other is low-key dependent on technology for news, everyday life, communication, blah blah blah. Everybody's dependent on it. So there's no way you wouldn't be in some way sucked into this thing. But what I'm saying is you can enjoy social media and still enjoy real life. You get. Don't let social media be your entirety. Don't let it be the one thing that defines your entire being. Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. And then maybe if I make an episode of the contrast where like the contrast between people that had access and people that didn't have access, I'll talk about dependency because you know how now these days we need to listen to music while we bathe or clean or watch a movie to fall asleep or listen to an audiobook instead of actually reading the book or listen to a podcast. Like we just need background. We need background noise to function at this point. I would honestly like to know their own opinion when it comes to not having that background noise and still functioning because how. So yeah, those are my thoughts on AI, my thoughts on threads, my thoughts on social media as a whole, my thoughts on new tech. I also feel like that whole thing where they're like technology is going to like replace human beings. I mean, in a way it is, but like I said, there are some fights, some battles that cannot be won, honestly, because jobs are definitely going to be lost thanks to tech, thanks to new devices. That is inevitable. I just pray that we find a way to still make money, honestly, because my sister sent a reel to us on IG, and it was a woman or girl, whatever, receiving her food that she ordered on Uber Eats by a robot. I mean, that's already taking over somebody's job of being a delivery man or woman. So you can see. But like there are just some wars that can be won. So when people come out and they're like, "Oh, we need to fight to keep like human essence and all this," we have to tell ourselves the truth. We just have to keep finding new ways to be to remain relevant on this earth because at this point, one way or the other, certain certain people with certain skills would no longer be relevant, would no longer matter. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but we just have to keep finding ways to be relevant so that they don't end up wiping the entire world and replacing all of us with robots. So yeah, those are my awkward thoughts and conspiracy theories on tech. You'll hear me in the next episode. Love and light. Mwah.